Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the NTPC Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by DAM Capital Advisors. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal the operator by pressing star then 0 on your touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Lizanne. On behalf of DAM Capital, I welcome you all to the Q2 FY22 earnings conference call of NTPC. We have with us from the senior management of NTPC, Director of Finance, Mr. A.K. Gautam, Director of Human Resources, Mr. Dilip Kumar Patel, Mr. Ramesh Babu, Director of Operations, Mr. Chandan Kumar Mondal, Director of Commercial, and Mr. Ujjwal Kanti Bhattacharya, Director of Projects. Without further ado, I would now hand over the call to Mr. Gautam and would request him to introduce the management team, followed by the opening remarks and the Q&A session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mohit. A very good morning to everybody. First of all, apologies for being slightly late. I, A.K. Gautam, Director of Finance, welcome all of you to the Q2 FY22 Concall of NTPC Limited. I have with me Sri Dilip Kumar Patel, Director of Human Resources, Sri Ramesh Babu, Director of Operations, Sri Ujjwal Kumar Bhattacharya, Director of Projects. I have also with me the other key members of NTPC team. Company had announced the unaudited financial results for the second quarter and half year of FY22 on 28th October 2021. The key performance highlights for the quarter and half year ended 30th September 2021 have already been disclosed on both the stock exchanges. Now I will touch upon operational highlights for Q2 and H1 of FY22. NTPC standalone gross generation in Q2 FY22 is 74.81 billion units and in H1 FY22 is 146.56 billion units as compared to 67.67 billion units and 127.86 billion units in the corresponding previous periods, registering an increase of 10.55% and 14.63% respectively. Gross generation of NTPC Group in Q2 FY22 is 90.97 billion units and in H1 FY22 is 176.78 billion units as compared to 77.93 billion units and 145.88 billion units in the corresponding previous periods, registering an increase of 16.74% and 21.19% respectively. In H1 FY22, we have added 2,160 megawatt to our commercial capacity, comprising 800 megawatt at Darlipalli, 660 megawatt at Tanda, 15 megawatt solar capacity at Bilor, 25 megawatt floating solar capacity at Timadri, and 660 megawatt at Nabinagar. With this, the commercial capacity of NTPC has become 53,225 megawatt on standalone basis and 66,650 megawatt for the group as on 30th September 2021. NTPC Group has already commissioned 1,390 megawatt of RE projects under EPC mode. 3,017 megawatt of solar projects, including ongoing projects of NTPC Renewable Energy Limited, are presently under implementation. 3,365 megawatt capacity has been won through tariff-based competitive bidding, for which power purchase agreements are yet to be signed. In addition, 3,100 megawatt capacity is under tendering. For H1 FY22, 3 coal stations of NTPC were among the top 10 performing stations in the country in terms of PLF. Korba station was ranked first with PLF of 92.88%, followed by Darlipalli with 88.28% and Sipat with 88.11% PLF. During H1 FY22, PLF of coal stations of NTPC was 69.63% as against the national average of 57.70%, thereby maintaining a spread of almost 12%. During the period, we have suffered losses due to grid restrictions and fuel supply. The generation loss due to grid restrictions in the coal-based stations was 36.82 billion units in H1 FY22 as compared to 61.19 billion units in HY FY21. For the gas-based stations, the loss was 14.99 billion units in H1 FY22 as compared to 12.33 billion units in H1 FY21. The generation loss on account of fuel supply constraints was 3.43 billion units for H1 FY22. Now I will touch upon the status of fuel supply. During the H1 FY22, materialization of coal against ACQ was 94.14% as against 87.43% in H1 FY21. Coal supply during H1 FY22 was 90.08 million metric ton, comprising of 89.20 million metric ton of domestic coal and 0.88 MMT of imported coal. The coal supply during the corresponding previous period was 78.75 million metric ton with 78.40 million metric ton of domestic coal and 0.35 million metric ton of imported coal. NTPC has achieved a total coal production of 5.54 million metric ton during H1 FY22. H1 FY21 was 4.46 million metric ton. Cumulatively, 37.90 million metric ton of coal has been excavated from Pakri Barwadi, Dulanga and Thalaipalli coal mines till 30th September 2021. Cumulative expenditure of rupees 7,500.45 crore has been incurred on the development of coal mines till 30th September 2021. NTPC has become the first energy company in India to declare its energy compact goals as part of UN high-level dialogue on energy. NTPC has set a target to install 60 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2032. NTPC is also aiming at 10% reduction in net energy intensity by 2030. Further, NTPC has declared that it will form at least 2 international alliances groups to facilitate clean energy research and promote sustainability in energy value chain by 2025. During H1 FY22, NTPC has commissioned India's largest floating solar project of 25 megawatt capacity at Simadri. During H1 FY22, NTPC Renewable Energy Limited has won 775 megawatt capacity under various competitive bids comprising of 105 megawatt at the rate of rupees 2.35 kilowatt hour and 220 megawatt at the rate rupees 2.33 kilowatt hour in RUMLSL Sajapur Solar Park tender and 450 megawatt at the rate rupees 2.34 in SECIT hybrid tender. During H1 FY22, NTPC has won 1,990 megawatt in IREDA's CPSU Scheme 2 Tranche 3 at the rate of rupees 44.95 lakh per megawatt of VGF with a tariff of rupees 2.45 per kilowatt hour. This capacity will enable reduction of over 3 million tons of CO2 every year. NTPC was the single largest capacity winner, and together with this capacity, NTPC and NTPC Renewable Energy Limited now has over 6.3 gigawatt capacity won through competitive biddings. This shall pave the way for NTPC plan for attaining 60 gigawatt RE capacity by 2032. Further, the CPSU scheme shall also promote Atmanirbhar Bharat since projects have to necessarily use domestic content. NTPC Renewable Energy Limited signed a MOU with Union Territory of Ladakh to set up country's first green hydrogen mobility project in the region. The MOU will enable NTPC to help Ladakh develop a carbon-free economy based on renewable sources and green hydrogen. NTPC has planned to fly 5 hydrogen buses to start with in the region, and company will be setting up a solar plant and a green hydrogen generation unit in Leh towards this end. This will put Leh as the first city in the country to implement a green hydrogen-based mobility project. This would be zero-emission mobility in true sense. NTPC has become signatory to the prestigious UN Global Compact CEO Water Mandate, joining the coveted league of companies that focus on efficient water management and recognizes the ever-growing importance of water stewardship and have been working to conserve this precious natural resource. NTPC has already taken a series of measures across its plants' location on sound water management. NTPC will further imbibe the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle for water conservation and management while carrying out its core business activity of power generation. The CEO Water Mandate is a UN Global Compact initiative to demonstrate commitment and efforts of companies to better their water and sanitation agendas as part of long-term sustainable development goals. NTPC signed a MOU with Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited, a government of Uganda company, for cooperation in power sector. NTPC has signed a MOU for cooperation in overseas power sector with RITES and NHPC for taking up infrastructure related projects, power development and capacity building, O&M, RMU and consultancy assignments outside India. Environmental management, the company has taken following initiatives for preserving environment. Flue gas desulfurization systems are under various stages of implementation for 63.86 gigawatt of group capacity. FGD systems have already been commissioned for 1,340 megawatt capacity. FGD system package for 59.94 gigawatt capacity are under implementation, and FGD system packages for 2.58 gigawatt capacity are under various stages of tendering. For compliance with NOx control, combustion modification has already been implemented at 25 units with 11.55 gigawatt of thermal capacity. Supply and installation of low NOx combustion system for 10 gigawatt of capacity is under implementation. Award for DNOx system package for 42.61 gigawatt are under process. Now I will touch upon the financial highlights for the H1 and Q1 of FY22. Gross sales for Q2 FY22 is 28,148.52 crore as against corresponding quarter of previous year gross sales of rupees 24,617.54 crore, registering an increase of 14.34%. On half-year basis, there is an increase of 12.74% in the gross sales, that is from rupees 48,033.77 crores in H1 FY21 to rupees 54,155.63 crore in H1 FY22. Total income for Q2 FY22 is 29,273 crore as against corresponding quarter of previous year. Total income of 26,023.33 crore, registering an increase of 12.49%. On half-year basis, there is an increase of 12.05% in the total income, that is from rupees 50,044.33 crore in FY21 to 56,075.25 crore in H1 FY22. Profit before tax for Q2 FY22 is 3,730.50 crore as against rupees 3,666.93 crore in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. On half-year basis, profit before tax is rupees 7,269.26 crore as against rupees 6,564.72 crore in H1 FY21, registering an increase of 10.73%. Profit after tax for Q2 FY22 is 3,211.91 crore as against rupees 3,504.80 crore in the corresponding quarter of the previous year. On half-year basis, PAT is rupees 6,357.54 crore as against rupees 5,974.96 crore in H1 FY21, registering an increase of 6.40%. Total income of the group for H1 FY22 is 63,486.27 crore as against corresponding period of previous year total income of rupees 55,472.32 crore, registering an increase of 14.45%. Profit after tax of the group for H2 FY22 is 7,134.67 crore as against 6,443.55 crore in the corresponding period of the previous year, registering an increase of 10.73%. During the H1 FY22, we have accounted dividend income of 736.73 crore from our subsidiaries and joint venture companies as against 556.73 crore received during H1 FY21. Now I will put an update on various other financial activities. The total regulated equity as on 30th September 2021 was 67,823.61 crore. Now fund mobilization. NTPC has issued the bonds aggregating to rupees 6,996 crore during H1 FY22. These includes rupees 3,996 crore at the rate of 6.87% on 20th April 2021 for a period of 15 years. Another 3,000 crore have been issued at the rate of 6.69% on 30th September 2021 for a period of 10 years. Average cost of borrowing for H1 FY22 is 5.96% as compared to 6.37% in H1 FY21. NTPC Renewable Energy Limited has signed working capital facility of 505 crores with Bank of Baroda and signed its first green term loan agreement of rupees 500 crores at a very competitive rate with the Bank of India for its 470 megawatt solar projects in Rajasthan and 200 megawatt solar projects in Gujarat. Now, an update regarding CapEx. In H1 FY22, we have incurred a group CapEx of rupees 15,137.67 crore as compared to rupees 12,983.14 crore in the previous period. The capital outlay for FY22 on standalone basis has been estimated at 23,736 crore for NTPC. Now I will briefly touch upon some of NTPC group companies. NVVN, our trading subsidiary, transacted 11.98 billion units during H1 FY22 as against 8.29 billion units during H1 FY22, registering a growth of 44.51%. NVVN has signed a MOU with Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam for setting up of solar projects 5 megawatt ground mounted and 2 megawatt rooftop solar. Airport Authority of India has authorized NTPC Vidyut Vyapar Nigam for setting up total 45 megawatt of solar rooftop ground mounted solar capacity spread over its 44 different airports under RESCO CAPEX mode. NTPC continues to win laurels and awards in various fields. Major awards received in H1 FY22 are as follows. NTPC has received PSU award for the year 2020 and Roll of Honor from Dalal Street Investment Journal in the category of Maharatna of the year and the most efficient and profitable Maharatna of the year manufacturing in recognition and appreciation of the contribution made in the year 2020. NTPC has been recognized as a Great Place to Work for the 15th year in a row by Great Place to Work Institute. NTPC is the only PSU to consistently feature in India's top 50 best workplaces. This year, NTPC ranked 38th, up from 47th position last year. NTPC has featured among the LinkedIn Top Companies 2021 India. In recognition of the digitization effort, NTPC has been chosen for Digital PSU Award in Maharatna category in ACE PSU Award 2021. NTPC has received Dune and Breadsheet India's Top PSU Award 2021. NTPC has received the Champion of Champions Trophy for NTPC Corporate Communication under various categories at the 15th Global Communication Conclave organized by Public Relations Council of India. These were some of the highlights I wanted to share before we begin the question and answer session. Thank you.
Should we open up for questions?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is on the line of Apurva Bahadur from Investec. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Congratulations on a good set of numbers. Sir, wanted to understand this upcoming MBED implementation. What sort of impact do you see of this on NTPC, and how much would you see as a fair brokerage to be paid to the exchange for the power which will be scheduled under MBED?
I'll ask this commercial person, Ajay Dua, to answer this question, please. Ajay?
Good morning. As far as this MBED current stipulation that is proposed to be implemented, we probably will not be affected in any way because the capacity charges are protected through the bilateral contract settlement mechanism. Similarly, the energy charges we'll get the energy charges as per the regulated tariff. We don't foresee any impact due to MBED implementation on our regulated plants.
Sir, and margin which will be payable to the exchange on whichever exchange this power gets scheduled. Any update on that?
You are asking about the trading margin that exchange?
Yes, sir.
We are not aware. I think this is being deliberated in the ministry or regulatory level. We are not aware of any changes that the trading margin for power exchanges is being contemplated or not.
Okay, got it, sir. So secondly, if you could share some of your insights around again looking to sign thermal PPAs given the current shortage which we witnessed. So is there any discussions around that or any update on our plans which were due for PPAs?
Can you repeat?
New thermal.
Basically new thermal capacity.
Good morning. I am Ujjwal Bhattacharya. Let me answer this. We are in discussion with Government of Orissa for a 2 into 660 megawatt power project at Talchet region, very next to our own Talchet thermal power project. This is what is at the very advanced stage of negotiation. PPA has already been signed with GRIDCO and other beneficiaries earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir. Sir, and just a couple of bookkeeping questions. If you could help us with the fixed cost under recovery, PLF incentive, and the surcharge income for the quarter, or any other one-offs if it were there.
Fixed charges under recoveries is around just 55 crores in the half year and 22 crores in the quarter. It is not much. This is variation. Or the figures, if you want the exact figures, they are 441 crores in the April to September half year as against 497 crores in the corresponding half year of the previous year. If you want for the quarter, during the current quarter is 249 crores as against 271 crores in the corresponding quarter of the previous year.
So what's the PLF incentive?
Pardon? Incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah, incentive in the current half year is 236 crores as against 279 crores in the corresponding half year of the previous year. For the quarter, it is 66 crores as against 137 crores in the corresponding quarter of the previous year.
Okay. So just one last question, if I may. And are there any other one-offs which were there during the quarter?
During the quarter, there are not one-off. If you see, there is a reduction in surcharge by about 711 crores in the half year as compared to 500 crores in the quarter. Variation.
Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you so much. I'll get back in the queue for more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is from the line of Puneet from HSBC. Please go ahead. Puneet, your line is in the talk mode. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Just a bit of clarification on this reduction in surcharge. This 711 is the surcharge income or is it the reduction versus the previous half?
It is a reduction versus previous half. If you want absolute numbers,
yeah.
In the half year, April to September 21, it is 420 crores as against 1,130 crores in the corresponding half of the previous year.
Okay. And for the quarter?
And for the quarter, it is 155 crores versus 657 crores in the corresponding quarter of the previous year.
Okay, and this is largely a function of what the change in the percentage and also...
That is a combination of change in percentage and morely it is dependent because most of the money we have realized in the current half year and quarter.
Understood. And what was that number for 249 crore which you said for fixed charge under recovery?
Fixed charge under recovery, I told for the half year,
yeah.
Current half year it is 441 crores.
Right.
as compared to 497 crore in the corresponding half of the previous year.
Okay.
Current quarter 249 crores versus 271 crores in the corresponding quarter of the previous year.
And why is this fixed charge under recovery? For what plants have contributed to this?
Plant-wise detail you may obtain from Aditya.
Okay, fine. My second question is largely, do you foresee any such under recovery to continue on account of coal shortage in the current quarter as well, or have things normalized for NTPC?
We expect that whatever this disincentive we have accounted in H2, we expect in the quarter, we expect that by the year end, most of this will be recovered.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It will be minimal.
Understood.
These have occurred mainly because of extended overhauls at some of our stations due to COVID.
Okay.
I'm Director Operations. Gautam sir, should I add?
Yeah, please.
Due to coal assets, there will not be any standard recovery. We have still maintained 69% PLF as in the last quarter.
Okay.
And we have touched more than 2 billion generation on a number of days. As our Director of Finance has said, as of now the coal position has become normal and the coal stocks are improving on a daily basis.
Right.
We don't foresee any loss in generation. And for the under recovery, due to the extended overall, already approached the PRC for the petrol, and at the end of the year, all this will be recovered.
Understood. And the Delhi PPA, which was to be relinquished, any plan? What's happening there?
Ajay, would you just come on this?
Delhi Discoms have written to us for relinquishment of the PPA. But the MOP policy that the government of India has issued in March 21 provides that they have to approach their regulatory commission. And once the regulatory commission, following the due process, checking the resource adequacy and adequacy of power availability, then they will permit them to relinquish, and then after 6 months that becomes applicable. So we understand that they have approached the DERC for relinquishment of power from the Dadri one.
Have we moved to tie this up with something else, or we're waiting for the process to complete it?
We are waiting for the process to complete.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you so much. My last question is on the
but we have got certain requests from the DISCOMs seeking to get this power reallocated to them. This relinquished, whatever is proposed to be relinquished, some of the DISCOMs have approached to get that reallocated to them.
Okay, that's super. And lastly, now that you have a separate renewable subsidiary, you already have some bit of experience with you. Is there a thought process to increase the aggression in winning new bids, or should we expect status quo of renewable projects?
Yeah, Mohit. I think that's a very subjective question you're asking. I don't know what aggression means. I think we have been fairly aggressive in winning the bids. So it has to be a call based on the overall picture, whether we are making money.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Aniket Mittal from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. So my first question is on the renewable front. I think we've got a 6.3 gigawatt pipeline right now under construction. So if you could help me with the timelines in terms of how does this 6.3 gigawatt phase out over the next few years?
Out of the 6.3 gigawatt, close to 3 gigawatts is under construction, and which we hope to complete in the next 18 months or so. In fact, we already started commissioning part of that. Some of it will get commissioned in this part as well. There's another 3.5 gigawatts, bulk of which is under CPSU scheme, in which the timeline given is about 30 months. And another 1.5 gigawatts is likely to be commissioned in 2024.
So by 24, you would essentially become a 7 gigawatt renewable portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, if we are counting this alone.
And in terms of our outlook, what are the sort of capacities beyond this that we're looking to add or win over the next 2 years?
No, beyond this also, the bid process is continuing, and we're also looking at other options of setting up capacity, because now, as you would have seen, that there are various other options that have been opened by the government also, like going to the exchange or tying up with the industrial customers. All those are also.
Understood. Fair. My next question was actually something that that an earlier participant touched on this 25-year PPA relinquishment. So apart from Delhi, we've actually seen some of the other states also looking to deallocate some of the gas-based power plants, particularly the likes of, I think, Rajasthan and Punjab have been looking to do that. And in the midst of all of this, there's also the MBED that's coming in. So I just wanted your understanding, based on your discussion with the ministry and the DISCOMs, how are things shaping up on that front? Let's say 4 years, 5 years down the line, do you see risk of some of these gas-based power plants being untied in nature?
Yeah, Ajay. Actually, there are 3-4 questions in it. Ajay, you please answer one by one. First is the relinquishment.
Even from gas stations, some of the beneficiaries have gone to their regulator for relinquishment of power from gas stations. The process is on with the regulator. Then on the MBED front, probably if we believe that whatever capacity is relinquished under the MOP scheme, if it is relinquished, would get reallocated, seeing the demand of power that has been recently. Other DISCOMs may come forward for getting this reallocated. And in any case, some of it is still left out. Probably then the MBD mechanism would take care of that, and we will be able to recover our costs from them.
Okay. So it's largely still being deliberated, is what I understand, with the MOP.
Yes.
Okay. Just one last question on the thermal front. So if I have a look right now, I think we have around 11 gigawatt of thermal capacities under construction. And let's say if I add Talcher to it, it's around 12.2, which would come in, I believe, in the next 3 or 4 years, right? So beyond, if I were to take a call beyond FY24, FY25, what sort of growth do you think can actually come in terms of capacity addition for thermal? Because if new capacities were to come after 24, 25, we've got to start the next couple of years. So some sort of view on that would be very helpful.
See, as you are aware that we are already working on almost 12,000 megawatt of capacity, which are at the various stages of construction and commissioning. This year we have kept a target of commissioning 5,382 megawatt, and these are mostly thermal and with some amount of solar. Next year we have a target of 6,507 megawatt, and 2023-24 3224, then 24-25 2900. These are based on the projects which are already under construction. As I have already told you, the Talcher is being seriously negotiated, but we will also keep an option that as we have committed to progressive decarbonization, we are being very careful and cautious about adding any kind of different kinds of fuel options. We are giving a lot of thrust on the renewables, but we are not shying away from thermal as such, depending on the country's requirement and which way the world opinion moves. You must have noted that India has not committed anything so far about COP26 regarding net zero. We are also waiting for the government policy in this regard. We have 7 other thermal projects at different stages of FR, feasibility report, and on the drawing boards. Depending on the country's requirement and as much as our strategy fits into for progressive decarbonization, we'll work on them. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking my question.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in this conference, we request you to limit your questions to 2 per participant only. The next question is on the line of Dipesh Agarwal from UTI AMC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. My first question is to understand the timelines for the appointment of independent directors. It seems the existing independent directors have retired. So what is the thought on increasing the proportion of independent directors?
Actually, in case of government companies, independent directors are appointed by the Government of India. We understand that the Ministry of Power has already recommended appointment of some of the independent directors, and that is pending with the other branch of the Government of India, and we expect that this will be cleared soon.
Okay. Second question is, since you have not won the recent distribution license bid, so what is the thought process or what are the future bidding pipelines out there? And secondly, if you can also touch upon the aspiration on the EV charging business.
Good morning. I am D.K. Patel. Actually, we are looking for different options. Actually, you may be aware that we had submitted our bid for both Chandigarh as well as TTA and NH. But we are looking for various options and searching for whenever there is a feasibility, then definitely we will go for distribution business. Thank you.
Okay. And on EV charging?
Recharging also. EV charging.
Yes.
Yeah, Mohit, you will comment here.
Yeah, so on the EV charging side, this is being handled by our subsidiary NTPC Vidyut Vitan Nigam. We already have, as on date, about 140 public charging stations operational across various cities. We've also been allocated another 200 charging stations across cities under the FAME scheme. So these are in pipeline over the next year and a half. Beyond that, we're also supplying chargers along with the bus services wherever we are providing, whether it's in Andaman.
यार इसमें वो कहाँ है वो हिंदगिरी ना कौन सा था वो हिंगोला और वो हिंगोला बलरामपुर ये है राइट आवाडी बैंक 27 ठीक है.
Pardon?
Sorry, I guess there was some disturbance from someone else's line.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this Mumbai-Pune highway also.
Yeah, and apart from that, we are also looking at setting up chargers on highways, and we have already submitted a bid for one of the highways, Mumbai-Pune highway.
Okay. A last bookkeeping question. Can you help us with the gross block of the operational renewable portfolio and what is the EBITDA from this?
I think this Aditya will give you separately these figures.
Okay. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Ajinkya Bhatt from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, sir. Thanks a lot for the opportunity. So 2 questions from my side. Number 1, we recently read in media articles that you have issued an expression of interest for procuring 15 gigawatt worth of solar modules, domestically manufactured modules over the course of next few years. So if you could just highlight what is the thought process around it. Is it mainly to secure reliable supply, or do you expect material cost advantages against imported modules going down the line? If you could throw some light on that.
So yeah, we have done that. I think you already answered the question yourself, because that exactly is the intent, that we need to not only tie up on a long-term basis, so we have a better visibility as we are bidding for various projects, and it will also help us take care of issues regarding volatility and all those things. So that strategy is the intent.
Okay. Any timelines on when do you think you would issue this kind of tender, and then would more such tenders be issued in the future, considering that you have a very large ambition and right now it's only 15 gigawatt of tender that you have issued?
Yes, I think you need to also remember that 15 gigawatt will broadly cater for about next 3 years or so. So if we do anything beyond that right now, it doesn't make sense, because no one is willing to give a much longer comfort on prices. So It has to be done on a regular basis, but right now this is what we are trying.
Okay, understood. And second question is, if you could just talk about a little bit about your broader energy transition strategy. Now, I see that, beyond renewables, you have several pilot projects going on, right? There is carbon dioxide to methanol with L&T, there is hydrogen production with Technip, and there is 1 gigawatt hour of battery storage tender which has been issued. Now, my question is the thought process that if you are able to commercialize all these aspects, could the existing thermal projects of NTPC be shielded from any sort of thermal PPA relinquishment from DISCOMs? Because then you can basically repurpose those projects to produce hydrogen or methanol and essentially supply energy in alternate form to different set of customers. Is that the thought process here?
I'll answer the specific question on CO2 to methanol. As you are rightly aware of that we have already started actual implementation of a CO2 to methanol project in one of our projects. And we expect to get the project on stream by December 22. That is our target. Now this is an R&D project going from lab to the land at the prototype level. And we will be trying to reduce the cost of the methanol. We are also experimenting with using the same methanol for refiring in our boiler in place of LDO. That has two purposes. First of all, we can go for carbon capturing to reduce the carbon footprint from our coal-fired power stations. At the same time, we will obviate the requirement of LDO and reuse our own CO2 converted through green hydrogen into LDO, equivalent of things. Now, going forward, if methanol becomes successful and we can reduce the prices, methanol can be used progressively more into boiler firing, for which we are also discussing with boiler manufacturers like BHEL and others to get into further research mode into it. We are also in touch with worldwide institutes in this regard, and beyond methanol also with ammonia firing and other possibilities. Coming to the issue of relinquishing PPA, I don't see there much of a link into this. We are not rather hesitant about the PPA or relinquishing of PPA. Our commercial department are very squarely and strongly positioned about this. But coming to the option of the methanol, if it becomes viable, yes, definitely that will definitely reduce the carbon footprint overall and help us in decarbonizing. Also, this itself can create another avenue for NTPC to venture into the chemical industry by cracking the methanol to get into other kinds of things like mixing with petrol and all these things. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity. So my first question is on there was a meeting in the month of September where Power Ministry chaired an action plan for enhancing investments, which has lowered the hurdle IRR from 10 to 8%. What is the context here, sir? I mean, is this because of the competitive intensity or the hardening of module prices? Why was this contemplated as such?
I think you need to see the context. That was a reference made by some of the other PSUs. As far as NTPC is concerned, we are a Maharatna company and there are no restrictions on NTPC taking investment decisions. But a few of the other PSUs are having directives from the government as to maintain whatever levels of hurdle rate. So from that context, we are not aware what decision has been taken. This was a point which was discussed. As far as we know, there is no decision as such from the government side. And in any case, like I mentioned, it's not going to affect anything.
Sure, sir. Sure. My second question is on this monetization news which have come up a few weeks back, where you have stressed that you are looking at the monetization, but you haven't.
Your voice is very low. Please speak louder.
Your voice is not clear. Can you speak louder?
Yeah, sir. My question is on the monetization part. 15,000 crore NEEPCO, NBBN, and NTPC REL monetization. Is there any timeline to it? Are you looking for a timeline for the monetization?
Yeah. The timeline has been indicated as next 2 years, and we are going ahead. Whatever these companies you mentioned, This regarding monetization, we are going ahead. We are working on that.
Sure, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. That is on the line of Apurva Sumit Kishore from Axis Bank. Please go ahead. Sumit Kishore, your line is in the talk mode. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. My first question is in relation to overdue receivable position. Could you please tell us what is the overdue receivable as well as the gross receivable position as of September? And has the cash been realized against the bill discounting which was done in FY21?
Yeah, second question first. Wherever we are doing bill discounting, we are receiving the payments by the discoms in time, and the total receivable position, just a minute please. Is this 13,702 crores total bill discount, total debtors position.
And overdue?
Overdue is around 4,000, 5,000 crores.
4,500 crores.
Just a minute. If you want the exact number, let me just give you. It is 6,045 crores.
Okay. And my second question is, over the next 5 years, how many existing operational coal-based capacity is likely to be phased out, as in retired, like you did for Badarpur or one odd unit at Tanda?
It is 110 megawatt. There is no much capacity. 4 units of Tanda. 4 units of Tanda.
So that will be what, 440 megawatts?
Yeah.
Okay. And my last question is, what was the fixed charge under recovery on account of fuel in first half of the year and second quarter of the year?
Because zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the PSU scheme, how many gigawatt can come up for NTPC in renewable? And so far, how much has come under PSU scheme out of the pipeline of 6.3 gigawatt?
Can you come again?
How many gigawatts has come to NTPC under the PSU scheme in renewable so far, and what is the prospect there over a 2 to 3 year perspective?
So renewable, under the CPSU scheme,
yeah.
There have been 2 rounds of bidding so far. In the first round, out of around 2,100 megawatts, NTPC had got about 1,700 megawatts. And in the second tranche, out of 5,000 megawatts, we have got 90 megawatts. So that's the total capacity which NTPC has won under the CPSU scheme. The projects are expected to start getting commissioned sometime in the last quarter of this fiscal. That is what we expect.
Okay. And going forward, what is the size of the CPSU scheme going to be? Because you seem to be very successful here.
What's the kind of? I again missed what you're saying.
Yeah. What is the kind of size of project opportunities that are left to be tendered out in the CPSU scheme, say over a 2 year time frame?
Yeah. So MNRE had taken approval for overall 12 gigawatts under the CPSU scheme, out of which 7 gigawatts have been tendered out. So that leaves another 5 gigawatts to be tendered out maybe after a year or so. So we are not sure on that. So that's still pending out of that capacity.
Okay. Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Apurva Bahadur from Investec. Please go ahead.
Right. Thank you again, sir. Sir, again, going back to this renewable capacity addition theme. So I understand that we will be roughly 700 gigawatts by FY24 given the current pipeline. But in order to meet our target of 60 odd gigawatts by 32, what would be an ideal, what are we targeting by 24-25?
I think when you said 7 gigawatts is adding up right now, consisting of the under construction and the big one. So that's 7. That might get expanded by a few if we are winning the bid with shorter timeline. So our broad target was to do about 15 gigawatts by 2025, which is what we hope to do.
Okay. Great, sir. So secondly, on this storage POI that we have sought interest for 1 gigawatt hour battery capacity. So wanted to know how do we intend to use this? I mean with our renewable plans, or how basically how will we offer this to states, and what will be the costing structure?
Yeah, so this is an EOI, so we don't intend to finalize order spaces with EOI. What we plan to do is that we have got a good response, we've got a good understanding of what kind of bids and capacities people are willing to offer. So we are in the process of finalizing the RFP for various capacities for storage. These are broadly to take care not only of the tenders which SECI or other agencies might bring out, either on RTC basis or storage purchase basis. This is also to take care of other opportunities available to NTPC, which could be to meet the requirements of the grid or ancillary services, which is also under discussion. So we have to take that final call on where exactly these will be located, but most of them could be linked to the RE capacity.
Okay, very useful, sir. Sir, also, if correct me if I'm wrong, but right now we are outsourcing almost all of our renewable EPC. Do we intend to shift that to in-house anytime soon, or will that be outsourced, continue to be outsourced even as we grow?
So we have already started doing that. In fact, we have 2 small projects where it's not a full EPC, where we have gone ahead with the packaging tender mode, and that could be the way to go depending on how we work out our numbers.
Okay. So just lastly, if, on a housekeeping side, if you could please share the consolidated regulated equity with us.
Consolidated would be given to you by Mr. Aditya Sadar separately.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Dhruv from HDFC AMC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So one question was on the financials. So if I look at the PBT after the regulatory line item, so I've added the regulatory line item there, and from that PBT, if I reduce the other income just to normalize for the impact of all the LPS and all the dividend income that you get. So if I look at the first half numbers, there is a decline of about 6-7%. And at the same time, your regulated equity on an average has grown by about 6-7%. So it seems there is some decline in the underlying performance. So is there a particular reason why this could be happening? Some other under recoveries, because the fixed charge under recoveries are similar, what they were in last year.
Dhruv, we can discuss with you this separately, because before PBT, I think, just a minute, consolidate, just open consolidate numbers.
Results.
Dhruv, I will give you separately. We can discuss this question. Yeah.
Okay. And so the second question was just an observation was that if I look at the regulated equity, so this quarter you said 67,800 crores, and last quarter it was closing was 66,000 crores. So the increase is about if I gross up it at the rate of 30%, the absolute increase is about 4,000 or 5,000 odd crores, versus the capacity increase for you is about 1,500 megawatt. So the per megawatt increase in gross block comes to about, in respect to the regulated equity, comes to about only 3.5 crores per megawatt. So this seems a very low number in terms of the what I'm trying to say, the increase in capacity that you have got and the increase in regulated equity corresponding seems to be very different. Is that because the order is pending, so you're not recognizing the full regulatory? I'm just trying to understand what could be this reason.
Dhruv, with respect to this, when we are declaring COD of second unit, the capital costs with respect to the second units are always lower because most of the common systems are commissioned with the first unit itself. In addition to that, this TTPS has been decommissioned. So,
okay.
the capacity charges with respect to that has also not been available to the company now.
But okay, so one second, TTPS was decommissioned in Q4, right? So not in Q1.
Comparative on a comparative basis, I am telling.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll add with the permission of Director of Finance one more thing, that you see when you go for COD of a project, not necessarily we make all the expenditures at that stage. We continue to make certain expenditures which are allowed by CERC up to the 3 years beyond the up to 2 years beyond the functioning of the stage. So some more regulated equity are expected to come for each of these units.
Okay, for the already commissioned project, the regulated equity will also be as you spend the project. Okay, got it. Because it is on cash basis. Perfect. Got it, sir. And so the one last quick question is, if I look at the PAF number for gas-based plants, this time it was 82%, which is, I've seen historically, if I see, this is the lowest quarterly number that you have seen. So is it because of the high gas prices that you are not able to do that, or is there some other reason for this?
I think DO, Mr. Mesh Babu will answer this question. Babu sir?
The gas generation was less because that was the asking why the gas generation
The
is less?
PAF number, PAF. I was looking at the PAF number, 81.6 if I'm not wrong.
What number?
PAF availability for gas-based plants.
Availability because we had one overhauling of our Anta station, overhauling. So that was the only reason, but that not affect our AFC under the current in any way. That will make up in the next remaining period. And there was some amount of gas shortage, but that also not affected.
I am in a meeting.
Okay. So nothing to worry here. As such, your voice was a bit lower, so I could not hear it.
The generate was low because of the high gas cost. That was it.
Okay. I was wondering about the PAF, but I think I understand. Got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. On behalf of DAM Capital Advisors, that concludes this conference call. We thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.